Hello and welcome back to the Learning to Live podcast. I'm your host Amelia J, and in today's episode I'm going to be doing a little bit of a recap of the past few weeks, turning 19, and talking about my goals for the month of May, but also a little bit about my summer goals as I'm almost finished with my first year of university. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to be talking about is just kind of a recap of April. I think the biggest thing that happened in April was that I turned 19, which is crazy to me because, you know, when I think 19, I think, oh wow, that's so old. Like, not even that's so old, but like when you're 19, you're so grown up and like this and that. But I don't feel like that. Now that I am 19, I don't really. But yeah, the other really exciting thing that happened in April was that I had two of my close friends on the podcast, which was the previous episode 3, where we talked about finishing school, how our friendships changed after school, going to university, starting apprenticeships, and kind of just figuring out life after secondary school. So that was really interesting. It was really nice to have them on the podcast as well. Like, it was the first time that I'd seen... Oh, I forgot my phone's on loud. I'm waiting for the doctors to call me today, so I've had to put my phone on loud. Like, usually I don't have it on loud during the day. I don't know if you can hear the birds. If you can, I'm sorry, but I can't do anything about birds making noise. It was the first time that I saw one of my close friends in a few months, I think it was. So it was really nice to see her. We all had like a little catch up. Me, Bria, Katie went out for a Nando's. It was kind of like my birthday like celebration with my friends. Had a lovely Nando's with them. We sat outside for Nando's. It's the first time that like I've ever eaten outside in Nando's, and it was like lovely and sunny. The weather was beautiful. It was quite warm. The only issue was, so my Nando's, like their outside area, I presume it's probably very similar for most restaurants and stuff like that, but the like outside seating area, it's kind of like a patio, is really small. And they were like, oh well, you can wait, like I think it's like half an hour, 45 minutes to get into Nando's and get a table, because I have to have a table downstairs because I was in my wheelchair. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do the stairs even if I wasn't in my wheelchair. We're just like, it has to be downstairs for obvious reasons. And then they're like, oh, you can go outside, eat outside, and like you can start now. So we were like, okay, we'll eat outside, because there was like the sheltery bit over, and I was like, yeah, I won't get sunburnt. I get sunburnt very easily. Like, it's not a joke. It's not funny. And I thought to myself, I was like, oh yeah, gotta make sure I put sun cream on because I'll forget to put it on before I left. And I was wearing like a sundress, but it had like virtually no straps. Like, it had those tiny little like spaghetti straps, and I was like, I'll forget to put sun cream on, and then I got sunburn if we decide to like go to the park or something. So we ate outside in Nando's. It was a little bit tricky manoeuvring the wheelchair around it, because it was such like a small area. It was manageable. It just wasn't ideal. But at this point we were starving. It was like 2 o'clock. We were so hungry, so we were like, we're just gonna eat outside. So yeah, the Nando's was lovely. I did get sunburn, but only on one side of my arm, which it looked ridiculous. But I mean, it healed quite quickly, so it was alright, because, you know, sunburn, like, it can get so sore. I just try and put like moisturiser on it like every day, and then usually it goes. It wasn't that bad of a sunburn. I've definitely had a lot worse, so I suppose there's a bright side in it. But yeah, so I turned 19, which to me, I don't feel 19. Sometimes I feel older, sometimes I feel younger. But it's just crazy that like I'm already 19, and you know, this time next year I'll be 20, which is just really crazy to me because I have an older sister. She's currently 21. But when I think of 19, I think, oh yeah, that's how old Ellie is, and I'm just like, no, it's not, because she's 2 years older than me. So it just feels like really weird. I kind of feel like I'm ahead in some stages, but in other stages I kind of feel behind, if that makes sense. I don't really know how to explain that one. It's just kind of what's on my mind right now. But yeah, so I finish my first year of university in exactly 17 days from now, and I'm so excited. I remember this time a year ago, I was almost finished with year 13 and I was so ready to just be done with school, to leave school. And by school I do mean like up to year 13, not like including university, because university has been a very different experience to school for me. But yeah, like I remember thinking like I'm so done with this, like I cannot wait to leave. And like I remember like after my first day, like I my last day, I didn't even cry, and I really thought I was gonna cry because, you know, I'm quite an emotional person, and I thought something as big as leaving school, like having your last day at school with the friends that I had, was gonna be like this big thing, and I was like gonna get home and I was gonna like be so sad. Honestly, none of that happened. And I remember because I had passed my driving test, I got my license a week before our last day of school. So I remember we were planning, we were just like, okay, well what we'd do is we'll pop into town after school, and like I'll drive my friends, like we can go for a drive, we can go into town, we can go get creams, because we all like really love creams, which is a dessert shop if you don't know what that is. But we're like, yeah, we'll go get creams, we can go shopping, we can, you know, just like do something fun. And I remember we were driving, I left my purse at home, so I had to drive back home after school and then go into town, which is fine because they're in the same direction, like it wasn't a detour. And on the way home we were listening to The Climb by Miley Cyrus, and we were a little bit emotional, but for me, I wasn't sad about it. I was so prepared to be done with school that it didn't even like surprise me. And as well, like the last day was just really weird for me. Like it didn't live up to my expectations. I thought it was gonna be a lot better than it was, honestly. I'm not saying that's anyone's fault, I'm just like saying that's how I felt. But you know, we took our pictures. I think my favourite part of the last day was not actually what happened at school, it was what happened afterwards. But yeah, and then I didn't go to my prom, and a lot of people were just like, oh yeah, you should go, like it'll be so fun. And I was kind of just, I really wasn't bothered by it, because I mean, I wanted to go to my year 11 prom, and I was so excited for that, and it was a little bit of a letdown, honestly. Like the actual prom itself, like I stayed at my friend's house afterwards, so like that bit was really good, but the actual prom itself, two of my closest friends weren't even there. I feel like if they were, then, you know, it would have been better. The actual prom itself, it just didn't live up to my expectations, and I think it's mostly because I'm not really a party person. Like I don't really go like to house party or any sort of party, because there's just so many people and it's just not my sort of thing. I think that definitely has something to do with it. Anyway, yeah, so I didn't go to my year 13 prom, and I don't regret it. I mean, the one thing that I was a bit sad about was there was a few like staff members that we had up until the end of year 11, and then they were at the year 13 prom, because a lot of the people, so at the college that I went to, you could stay on after year 11 and do year 12 and 13 if you wanted to, so that's what I did. But a lot of the people who stayed on, a lot of the people who were in year 12 and 13 were people who stayed on from year 10 and 11, so a lot of those people, you know, they had the relationship with those staff members, so it was nice to see them again after they left. It would have been nice to have seen them again at the prom, but I didn't really think it would have been worth going to I feel like I was so prepared to leave year 13, and as well I knew it wasn't going to be the last time that I saw my friends. Obviously some of them, you know, I think everyone has friends that they're friends with in school but they don't really talk to outside of school, but like the people that I still wanted to talk to, I have seen since I left. So yeah, that's what I did. I think that definitely helped when it came to like leaving school. But now this time, like I've almost finished my first year of university, and I am really excited for summer. Like I can't wait, but it's not in the sense that like I'm done with uni, like I can't be asked for this anymore. like it was with year 13, because year 13 it was having like a massive impact on my mental and physical health. So, you know, at that point, like, I needed to leave and I knew that it was best for me. Whereas with university, because I do it online and part-time, like, I can manage my condition a lot easier. I mean, it is still difficult, but it's better than I can manage it easier than I did when I was at school. So yeah, I am really excited for summer, and I do have a few exciting things coming up this summer as well. My goals for the month of May, I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to go into my summer. May, my biggest goal obviously is to finish uni. So right now I am completely on track. I mean, I'm a little bit ahead. I have 2 weeks to do my assignment, so that starts next week, to do my final assignment. And this week I just have like a normal set of work, and then I have a lecture on Saturday morning. But I already did like half of the work that I need to do last week, so I am a little bit ahead. I'm very proud of myself for staying on track and even getting ahead in some areas. Like my last assignment I turned in almost a week early, which was like, it was a very proud moment for me, because sometimes I'd leave the assignments to a little bit last minute, and then I'd get more stressed, and it wasn't like, I think my grades would have been better. However, towards the end of this university year, I have turned things in advance. Even if it's just like a day in advance, it's still, you know, a lot better, obviously. So yeah, I have 2.5 weeks till I finish. I've really enjoyed this university year. I think it was a very good first year. But I'm ready for my next module, because this module was kind of just the introductory one. So yeah, I'm really excited for my next module. I'm most excited for the module that I would start next year. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then what else have I got for May? May, I'm moving bedrooms, so I want to declutter my room, like my current room. When I say declutter, I mean get rid of things that I don't need or don't use. So I need to go through. I have actually done this already, and I hadn't when I was like planning this episode, but I need to like go through my stuff, like my wardrobe, my boxes of clothes, because I had a couple boxes of like summer stuff. I needed to go through and obviously get out, because now the weather's getting a lot nicer. So I needed to go through and see, you know, what do I need? What can I get rid of? What can I donate? What do I just not use in general? And I think the biggest thing that I found quite a few clothes, but I just donated them. My style has changed a lot, even like in the past like 6 months, but I'm struggling to find clothes that I want to wear and go with the new style that I'm going for, but are also affordable and kind of just, you know, good ethically and sustainably. Places like Shein, obviously Shein is like one of the most affordable places you could go to, but obviously like based off of, you know, what I have read, and this isn't just for Shein, it's for like other places as well, but you know, their workers are underpaid and aren't in the best working environments, but also the quality of the clothes isn't the best. And then also as well, like, it's even just things as simple as like the packaging, like it's bad for the environment. They use a lot of packaging, and I know obviously with a lot of like clothing companies, I'm not saying Shein is like exclusive to that, like obviously other clothing companies do it as well, but you can cut down on the packaging or just change the packaging so it's like recyclable or something. But yes, I don't shop from Shein, and I am on a budget, so I can't just go out and buy a whole new wardrobe, so it can be a little bit difficult to find summer clothes. But yeah, I've gone through, donated what I can, thrown away everything that I can, so I've kind of done that already, and I still have about a week until I can sort out my new room. That was one of my like big goals for May was to declutter my room, because I don't want to take anything I don't need into my new room. Like, it's not necessary, it'll be harder to organise, there's just no point in doing it. So yeah, I've cleaned out my cupboard, I've cleaned out my wardrobe, so that's all good. Pretty much everything that is in my room now I need or I'd like to keep. So yeah, I'm going to move on to my goals for summer as a whole. And by summer I do mean from the end of May until the beginning of October. And I know obviously October is not summer, however I don't start my next module until the 1st of October. So my summer will last from end of May to beginning of October. So that is what I mean when I refer to as my summer. But yeah, I think my main goal for summer is to kind of get into a solid routine, even if it only lasts like for summer. Now it can be like the thing that I focus on the most once I finish university, because at the moment university is my priority, so I don't get to do the things I want like as much, which, you know, that's kind of what happens. So yeah, my goal is to have a solid morning/night routine that I do every day, and it doesn't even have to like last for like an hour. It could last for like half an hour. At the moment I wake up and sometimes I read for 10 minutes, sometimes I'll journal for 10 minutes. It's just not very set in stone at the moment. I kind of go with whatever I'm feeling in the morning, because I don't want to tire myself out before doing my university work for the day, whatever it is. So when I won't have university during the summer, I'm kind of going to take that as the opportunity to do what else I want to do. So ideally I want to wake up and I want to practice gratitude first thing in the morning. And this is something that is quite important. Is journaling and gratitude and meditation, just as a whole, are the 3 things that I would practice every single day if I could. But it's just not always doable on the day or at the time or whatever it is. So my ideal perfect morning routine would be wake up, go outside, do the Way of the Tortoise journal, maybe do a dream journal, and just kind of sit outside and do that. Now that the weather is getting nicer, obviously it's going to be easier to do because it won't be chucking it down with the rain, or it won't be freezing cold. Honestly, I try to practice gratitude as much as I can. In my dream world, I would practice it every day, and I have started incorporating more things into my daily life to practice gratitude, and it's becoming a little bit of a unconscious thing, which is really, really good. But if I'm doing something and something good happens to me, I'll just say thank you. It doesn't have to be that I'm sitting down and writing everything I'm grateful for. But this happens a lot when I'm driving. If like getting out of my road is just hectic most of the time, because there's just a constant stream of traffic, and if I want to turn right out of my road as well, it can sometimes take about 5 minutes, no joke, to turn right out of the road, because there's just a constant stream of traffic. And even if I go out at like 7 o'clock in the evening, there's still often a lot of traffic. And I mean, one day hopefully I'll live somewhere where there's less traffic, because that'd be lovely. But you know, I do live in London, so I'm not entirely surprised. Yeah, so if I'm driving and someone lets me out, I'll say thank you. And my sister, she goes, you know, they can't hear you. And I'm just like, I know, but I'm just showing my gratitude, not just towards them, but also towards the universe. Obviously, the law of attraction teaches that you create your own reality. And I know that some people don't believe this. Some people struggle with trying to put this into their day-to-day life, which I completely understand. And I might actually do another episode talking about the law of attraction and kind of just like the basics and stuff for beginners or people who are just a little bit stuck on how to practice it, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to practice gratitude more and more in my day-to-day life, you know, because once you express the gratitude that you have, you're gonna attract more things to be grateful for. And I have noticed that like once I start saying it, it's getting easier to keep saying it, which is like the whole point of it. So that is what are my main goals. I mean, the other thing as well is I'm trying to get less sarcastic, and I don't say this in like, oh yeah, sarcasm's horrible, you shouldn't be sarcastic, but in like, I have quite a sarcastic personality, and I think for a long time it was just kind of the way that I dealt with things was just to be sarcastic, which, you know, perfectly fine with that. But a lot of the time, if I'm driving and I let someone out and they, you know, don't say thanks, I'll be like, oh right, okay, you're welcome. But I think part of that comes from the fact that, you know, as I grew up, my parents, like, manners were a massive thing to my parents, but not just my parents, but like my family as well. Like, you say thank you, like, at every opportunity. You know, politeness was just a massive thing. Like, it's another thing that's kind of made it easier to practice gratitude, was because even if I'm not sitting there and saying, oh, thank you, universe, like, thank you for this and this and that, if, you know, my mum cooks me dinner, thank you for, you know, I'd just say thank you. Like, she puts on my plate, say thank you. Whereas I know not everyone thinks like that or has been taught like that. I sometimes would put a little bit of a sarcastic spin on it and be like, oh yeah, you're welcome. I don't really resonate with it anymore, and I think it's important, you know, it's not something I resonate with, and it's not something that is like necessary. Obviously there can be loads of things you don't resonate with that, you know, you have to do. Being a little bit sarky is something that I can afford to not do. But yeah, I am trying, and like I said, this does happen the most when, I mean, it's not always when I'm driving, sometimes it's like when I'm out in a public place, but I think driving is where I notice it the most. I think they're my main goals for May/the summer. And I mean, the other thing as well is an evening routine. I did used to have a pretty solid evening routine, but it's just kind of changed because I struggle to keep a routine going. And the main thing for that is my university routine, and that is mainly because, you know, I can't always sit at my desk and work for hours on end. I can't always concentrate because of my pain and fatigue, so it can be a bit of a sticky one, basically. Ironically, towards the end of my university year, I am finding ways that are working for me to be able to be a little bit more consistent. And I think that's something that I'd like to keep up during summer. I mean, luckily for me, I still have things to do during summer, so I will still have things to work on. Like, I'm going to do some projects and stuff, the podcast being one of them. So I'm not going to fall out of the working routine completely. Obviously, it will be an adjustment going back to university in October, but what I like to do is when I know that a change is coming, I'll start preparing for it mentally, so that when the time comes, I am a little bit more prepared on, you know, the best way to do things. So yeah, I'm figuring out what is best for me and what's going to be best for, you know, each day. And I do have to, a lot of the time, take it a day at a time. You know, I can't, you know, I would love to sit down and get all my uni work done in like a day or two, which is a little bit upsetting for me because, you know, in my dream world I'd get it all done in a couple of days and then I'd have time to go and do other things. But like I said, it's just not something that works for me. Maybe in the future, yeah, maybe not. At this point, I don't know. I'm just trying to take it a day at a time, but also still doing the things that make me happy and make it me be able to do the things I want to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, evening routine is kind of similar to my morning routine. I think what I want to do is I can pick, if I don't want to go outside in the morning, then I'll have to do it that evening, unless I physically can't get down that step that day, because a lot of the time some days are worse than others, or some days I'll have someone who can help me get down the step and help me to the chairs and stuff. So if I don't go in the morning, then I need to go in the evening. And the main reason for this is for my mental health. Getting outside, I cannot explain how much better it makes me feel, and that is like a big goal for the summer as well, which is getting outside. I want to start going for walks probably about 3 times a week. Now, when I say a walk, I'm not actually physically walking, but it's just the easiest way to explain it when you can't see what I'm talking about. I would go in my wheelchair. Now that I'm driving, I have a car, I have a hoist that can lift my wheelchair, because before I didn't have that. So I can go out by myself now. I can go for a walk when I want to. I like to call them a roll, go for a roll. And there is quite a few nice parks near me. I'm a very nature dependent person. I'm not sure if that's like the right thing that I'm trying to say, but getting outside makes me feel so much better and more grounded and more connected, if that makes sense. So if I don't get outside for a few days, I do notice, a change in my mood, or, those sorts of things. So yeah, and then also I started incorporating into my Sunday routine. On a Sunday, I do like to journal, do a little bit of a recap of the week, and kind of just think about the week ahead. And this helps me, one, remember what I have to do that week, because sometimes like I'll make plans with a friend and I'll completely forget about them until not long before, and that isn't anything like due to the friend itself. It could just be that like it's just completely slipped my mind. It happens fairly often, but there's a park that I really like, and on a Sunday, sometimes I go on a Saturday, but it's usually on a Sunday, I'll go there to do my journaling, and sometimes I'll do like a tarot reading for myself in the park. I do want to spend more time outside, and I think that will be like the best thing for me, like the biggest thing that's going to make a difference this summer for me is getting outside more. So again, I think like meeting a friend once a week and going outside with that friend, I think that would be quite helpful. I also want to watch the sunrise one morning and the sunset. Sunset is a lot easier to watch because I'm going to be awake at that time anyway. Sunrise is not, because obviously the sunrise is earlier, and it is usually earlier than I'm awake, at least during the summer. So yeah, I do want to watch the sunrise one morning. I feel like it would just be quite calming and a nice way to wake up. But yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Sorry for my squeaky chair, I need a new one. It's really annoying. But yeah, I think this summer this summer is going to be the best summer so far, and there is a few reasons for that. One, like I said, last year I did have my car, but I didn't have a hoist for my wheelchair, so I wasn't really able to go out that much unless I was like going out with someone who could help me, which wasn't always the case, but it was very difficult to lift a wheelchair. Anyway, whereas this summer, I do want to go on a few trips. I have a couple trips planned so far. The nice thing is that I have family that don't live they live a bit further away, so it's nice that I'm able to make a trip out of seeing them, because I feel like I'm getting away from home and my town for a little while, and I also get to see family, so that's really nice. So I do have a couple trips planned to see family, because obviously there's people who don't live very close, I don't really see as much, and especially with university and school for my younger siblings, and then work for my older sister, it can be hard to plan a time where we can see those family members. So yeah, I have a few trips planned. Most of it is with family again, so it'll be really exciting. It'll be very nice to see them and be able to spend a bit more time with them. And then one of my other big goals, and I can't believe I waited till last to say this, maybe that's a good thing, end it on a positive note, but one of my main focuses this summer is to work on my writing portfolio. So I want to write for film and TV, and at the moment I have a little bit of writing for my portfolio, but I had one idea that I worked on for an assignment and I really want to develop it. And so this summer I do want to work on one of my ideas and really just build it up and work on it. And the other reason why I wanted to do this in the summer, other than the fact that I don't have university, is because BBC do a BBC Writers Access group, which is basically it's a group for writers with disabilities. And as far as I'm aware, it can be any sort of disability, whether it's a physical disability or not. So you can submit your script, and if they pick you do a 9-month program where you develop your script and you go to masterclasses and stuff like that. And then at the end, they pick a script to commission. That is what I got from it, from when I read it a while ago. But that usually starts around the end of the year or the beginning of the year. So I just feel like this would be a very good time to work on that, because I think it would be very beneficial to do that, because I don't really have much writing experience. I do have writing knowledge from my mentor year, but that wasn't just writing as well. That is some writing, but also just working in the TV industry and stuff like that, which obviously is very helpful to know that when that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, the other thing as well, and this is something that it fluctuates a lot, but sticking to my boundaries when it comes to seeing friends and meeting up with friends and stuff. And what I mean by this is, a lot of the time, if I'm, planning to see a friend and they're like, okay, you're available on this day, do you want to do this, whatever. A lot of the time, even if I don't want to do that, or, I'm not feeling up to it, or I'd rather do something else, or it'd be better that day for me to do something else physically, I'll still be like, yeah, that's fine. And this is something that I've worked on for the past year. Really, it's something that I've struggled with my whole life. I am a people pleaser, which it isn't the nicest thing, and it's hard to break that cycle, which is why I've been working on it for so long. Sticking to my boundaries. If I don't want to do something, I'm just gonna say no, unless it's obviously something that needs to be done, or whatever it is. But in this situation, I'm talking about if someone asks me if I want to go to town, if I don't want to go to town, then I need to say I don't really feel like it, could we do this instead, or do you have any other ideas of what we could do? So yeah, trying to be a little bit less of a people pleaser. It is a journey. It is difficult sometimes, but obviously it leads to better things when you're doing what you resonate with and you're not doing things you don't align with. So yeah, I think that's everything that I have to say today. I am going to try and keep the content coming throughout the summer. So I have the podcast, and I do upload an episode every week. What I will be doing is, at some point, and I haven't really planned this, it's going to be when I feel like it's the right time. I think that's it for this episode. I really hope that you guys enjoyed.